Yo, what is up, everybody? This is Zero, and today I have a special guest, Up the Unicorn. We're gonna talk about femininity and what her channel's about. So I'll let Uppity tell people what her channel's about. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Uppity Unicorn, and my channel is about femininity and leveling up. I also try to incorporate the progression of African American women and issues, and I also discuss issues that are facing African American women today. Nice to be here with you, Zero.
Yeah, same here. And you mentioned leveling up. What exactly is that for people who may not know what that means?
So, the level up is about self improvement. It's about, I would say that it's about self improvement, taking accountability, and living your best life. And so that's basically like a three-step process. So I would say accountability, self accountability, and then the second thing that I said, and then living your best life. Those are basically like it's like steps or whatever. I'm thinking like a staircase in my head. This is the way that you get to that point. So, a leveling up could mean exercising if you're overweight, looking in the mirror and doing that dark work and saying to yourself, this is not who I want to be. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about, if you've got toxic energy, if you've got a bad attitude, if maybe you've got bad acne or anything, maybe you need braces or whatever it is. It's like, you know what? I want to be who I want to be. Maybe you don't read enough books and you say to yourself, I want to be a knowledgeable woman. Or maybe you're not the best mother you could be, and you say, today, I want to begin the habit of spending more time with my children. Tonight, I'm going to decide that I'm going to read one book every night to my kids before they go to bed. It's all about being accountable for yourself, molding yourself to the point of self actualization, right? Because you self actualize when you are living the person that you want to be. So let's say, Beyonce as a little girl, she wanted to be a diva. She wanted to be the celebrity she is today. So we could say Beyonce is a person who self actualized, as in she became what she dreamt she would be. So it's about dedicating yourself to the process of becoming who you are in your dreams in reality.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That sounded pretty deep right there. It's simple, but
Yeah, it's a very spiritual process. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in the level up. There are women who, they've cried, every step of the way, losing 50 pounds. They're like, I'm going through sugar withdrawals and, I'm, irritable and sleepy and hungry and attitudinal, but, I lost the 50 pounds and now I'm no longer addicted to sugar. And now I walk 3 miles a day, like, sometimes it's very painful work. Sometimes women are looking at themselves and saying, yo, I'm ignorant. I need to learn. I need to go back to school. I need to better myself. And it's all about holding yourself accountable and not drinking your own Kool-Aid, because some people like to think that there's nothing wrong with them. They don't want to be accountable for their shortcomings, how they affect themselves and other people. And it really takes an honest person. It takes to have an honest moment with yourself to say, I need to start with a man in the mirror and not just ask him to change his ways, but force him to change his ways.
Mm. So how would you force him to change his ways?
So by saying him, I'm saying me, but it's just, Michael Jackson sings the song, so he uses, the word him. But the way that I might force myself to change my ways is just basically, I mean, there's a level of kicking your own ass, if I can say ass. But there's a level of like, there are sometimes I'm in the bed and it's in the morning at 6 a.m. and I know that I don't have much to do considering that I don't have a job. So I'm just like, oh, I can just turn over and go back to sleep. I can watch a few things on YouTube, answer some emails, and go back to sleep. And it's like, no, you don't, uppity. Get your overweight ass up, make some coffee. Before you have your coffee, have some hot lemon water with apple cider vinegar in it because you're overweight. And you go to that computer room and you do your damn 3 miles. You're not going back to bed. The partner, the man in your life that takes care of you is worth more than that. He deserves to see you at your best. Lose the weight, get fit, you know, let it burn. that
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
Okay. I see. And we talking about burn away, not usher let it burn. Just make that clear.
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes I'm telling you, I'm working out and I'm having a great time. Like today, I uploaded a workout, I was having a great time. But there are sometimes I'm working out and I'm so mad I could cry because I don't want to do it. I like sometimes I would really rather take a nap or I would really rather, scroll through Instagram. And I'm just like, uppity, you gotta. You have to do this. There are sometimes I'm interacting with, people who I would like to lose my temper on. And I'm just like, you're going to embarrass your mom. You have to behave the way that you were raised. Bite your tongue, do the work, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I know you had mentioned your femininity journey. I'm sure probably people here probably not heard about it. I don't know if you want to kind of talk about it a little bit or not. Uh,
Absolutely. The first thing I want to say about femininity is that femininity is not a weakness. Femininity is a woman's strength. Just as masculinity is a man's strength and femininity would be his weakness, masculinity is our weakness and femininity is our strength. And I can think of no greater way to disarm a man, even if that man wants to kill me, than by being feminine. Um, I grew up in the 90s, and I think in the 90s and the 80s, it was very popular to say, hey, I'm a tomboy and I don't have no female friends. I don't like girls. I hang out with guys and I sag my pants. And, like it was like, oh, I'm not one of the bad, slutty hoe girls. I'm not some hoochie mama. I'm a tomboy. I'm a good girl, you know? Um, and so whenever I had these girly inclinations, like to want to be a ballerina or, like I just was shamed out of those things, especially because I was kind of a curvy kid. Like I got my menstrual cycle when I was 10. So by the time I was 10, I already had breasts and big legs and, a bubble behind, So anytime I tried to be girly, I was punished. And so I was basically reared in one way or another to be boyish and to be proud of being a tomboy. And it was never a sincere thing for me, ever. But I felt like I had to do it in order not to be mistaken for, some kind of a hoochie mama or she thinks she's grown, something like that. And finally, I saw what it was doing to me. I saw that it was, going against your nature is something that is very toxic to you. Whatever your nature may be, you got to go for it. You got to be true to it because before you know it, you'll be some kind of a convoluted hypocrite. So, I finally let go, and it was years in the making, but becoming feminine has changed my life. I know when I was heavily influenced by modern day feminists, there were things I would do and the way that I would engage in relationships, it would be almost like a man. And I would end up being used and abused, and I would feel so empty. And I'm just like, why is it like this? Why am I attracting the same men over and over again? And then for me, that was a red flag to level up. Like, it's not just, it can't be all of their fault. Even if they're all pieces of work, it can't just be their fault if I'm the common denominator. So it's like looking at yourself, owning that, and deciding I'm going to be single, celibate, abstinent for an entire year until I work out whatever mentally is going on with me, whatever spiritual hurdle is within myself to keep having to learn the same lesson over and over again through the same silly, horrible, terrible, toxic men. And to some degree, I have passed, I would say maybe 90% of those tests because I live a totally different life. I have a totally different man in my life. Um, and things are different and things are better. And I owe that to embracing my femininity.
okay. Yeah. It kind of sound like as far as looking at the people that you've dated, like when you say they're toxic. Yeah, I had like a similar experience, but fortunately I guess I think I probably started doing that maybe around when I was 18, 19. I was like saying like, well, it might have been that, or it might have been later. I think it was actually later. But I was like saying like I said I'm they're not women that like just not treat me right. They seem cool at first, but then they not treating me right. So I'm like, and I noticed like like the past women I had been dating. I'm like, well, wow, and that's like it's like I'm finding women like I said it can't be just them. It's got to be something about me that's attracting these people. So yeah, I had to take time to figure out what that was so that I would stop attracting those type of women.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the process of, owning the fact that, okay, maybe I've been a victim, but I'm not going to live as a victim. I am not going to have a victim mentality. I am going to take responsible for what I have control over, and that can only be yourself. My mom used to always tell me, you baby, you've got to teach people how to treat you. And the problem was, whether you like it or not, you are teaching people how to treat you. And if you esteem yourself lowly and treat yourself lowly, even someone who used to look up to you, they will eventually treat you the way that you feel about yourself. So you really have to do the inner work. Like, it really has to be a sincere thing. It has to be genuine. You cannot fake it. I mean, some people say fake it till you make it, and I believe that about 50%. But the other 50% is like, damn it, you're going to have to do the work and show your work. It's like doing a math problem and breaking it all the way down.
Yeah, I get the whole fake it till you make it to a certain point. It's like saying like pretend like you got it for now, but you gonna have but try to but like put in the work so that when when it comes out like you might have been faking it first. Now you're no longer doing it. You actually
Absolutely. There's definitely a beauty to faking it till you make it. And that's why I wanted to like insert that caveat. Like, part of that is true, that you really can fake something till you make it. But the other half of that is like,
yeah,
you got to make it real for yourself at some point. You
right.
know, I know some people who they practice all their lives, in their fantasies, of, pretending to be rich and famous or pretending to be actors and actresses. And then finally, in high school, they got into their theater group and their drama club. And then finally, they grew up later and realized becoming an actor, actress, or something to the effect. And, they were always training to do that. Like, people who want to be in the NFL. And, it's not necessarily just fake it till you make it. It's like, well, now I'm going to make the varsity football team. And now I'm going to go to college and be a red shirt. And then hopefully, once if I do well enough, I can be this, Seahawk, Dallas Cowboy, Bronco, whatever, Um, so there is that blend between faking it till you make it, but also doing the work.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I mean, I know I mean, of course, like your feminine journey. You say you would always felt like you know you always felt like you had to hide your feminine side. I know you kind of elaborate somewhat, but like how did it like really make you feel like when you were doing that?
You mean when I was behaving as masculine or when I was
Yeah.
going through the process of embracing femininity?
Both.
I think being masculine made me feel like I'll be honest, if being transgender was a thing when I was little, I would have told people, "Oh, I'm really a boy." Like, I would have believed that I was transgender, that I was born in the wrong body. Because I wanted to be a boy so bad. I just felt like boys were safer. I felt like boys could, do whatever they wanted and they wouldn't necessarily be punished for it. I felt like, the boys will be boys type of thing where, they could slip through the cracks with their behavior, but still be honored and respected. Whereas, if a girl, you go off on one person or you kiss one person, then all of a sudden, you're a bad girl, you're a slut, you're a hoe, you're, a failure. And I was just like, damn, like if I make a mistake, I have to go blind for what I did. But, for boys, it's not so. So that made me really resentful, and I was dissatisfied with being a girl. So much so, especially being my size, I decided, oh, I'm gonna be like the boys and just not hit girls, and I would get into fight with boys, but I wouldn't hit girls. And it was just this totally masculine thing that was going on with me where I became very self-sacrificing, like some kind of a superhero martyr type of thing, where I was constantly, protecting girls from boys. And I was just like, I'm the one who needs the damn protection. I'm the person who doesn't have a protector. And this isn't just something that I want, it's actually something that I need. So, I converted to Islam in my early 20s. And I think just donning the hijab and the femininity that is obviously associated with wearing a long flowing dress made it very obvious to men that I was a woman and that I was like a woman, like to wear a dress every day says to someone, or abaya, which is similar to a dress. It says to men, I am a woman. And I started to notice the way, when I was dressed that way, the way men would open doors for me or pull out chairs, or, a crowd of men would maybe stop swearing when I walked by. And I noticed that it was just femininity and it wasn't necessarily being attractive because, I was one of those Muslim women who covered everything but my eyes. So my entire face would be covered and they wouldn't know if it was a beautiful woman or not. All they knew was that it was a woman who, looks like she has some kind of a virtue. Um, and that was the first kind of like, man, this life is so much more comfortable. It's an amazing thing when people say that Muslim women are so oppressed and pity them so much. And I'm just like, well, no, there's a lot you don't know about, the way some people react when they see a Muslim woman who has hidden her sexuality but not her femininity. And that was the first time where, like, I had completely hidden my sexuality but not my femininity. And it was very liberating. And so once I started being less conservative, I just kind of, kept on the road of being feminine and understanding my place as a woman. Like, no, I'm not going to fight a man. Yes, I am physically weaker than a man. If this man is going to provide for me and protect me, yes, I am going to listen to him. Yes, I am going to, compromise. Yes, I am going to be agreeable and easy to be around. Who am I not to be when this person literally pays the cost to be the boss? So, those are things that have made my life much more comfortable to live.
Yeah, yeah, I've definitely seen the Muslim community. Even though I never actually became Muslim, I've I've been around the masjids and whatnot, and I participated in some services because I had people I knew who were Muslim as well. So I kind of had a I got a chance to experience that, especially during Ramadan. Kind of because like you're getting people, you get to go and see them people, see how different see how different races of Muslims are and all that. And I mean, I've seen some, some things I like about it and some things I don't. Of course, I've seen, I mean, I've seen like some of the discrimination with certain type of Muslims to others, and I mean, and I mean, I've never seen like how like in different race people like how like Muslim women are treated. Like I've seen like it with like black with like predominantly black masjids. I seen where like black women are like like they still follow the praise of Islam, but like it it's like you could tell like like the women there don't really there's no impression on you that they feel like they're oppressed or they like that or like oh yeah they have to sit there and and just be quiet while the men are talking whatever that you never get that impression like far that's
Absolutely.
yeah
When Muslim women, when you see us in our hijabs and when you see us sitting down and letting men talk and not talking while men are talking, or finding a seat behind the crowd of men so that we're not sitting in front of them, like, these are the rules of Islam that really make sense. Islam is very practical, right? A lot of people, they want, feel good religion, and oh, it makes me happy and it makes me feel some kind of a ooh surreal way. But I'm just like, Islam is very practical, and it's just like, well, there's a lot of bending and bowing in Muslim prayers. So, do you want a bunch of women in front of a bunch of men bent over while they're trying to do something spiritual? The answer is no, because the most attractive part on a woman's body to a man is the buttocks. It just is what it is. So it's not, oh, you're so oppressed because you have to stand behind men. It's like, girl, don't be dumb. We know what this is. We know what hips and thighs and behind do. Don't be a goofball. And it's like, oh, well, how come men get to lead the prayer and women don't? And I'm just like, do you know what it does to men sometimes just to hear a pretty voice, even if he can't see your face, even if he can't see your body? Just to hear your voice, do you know how mysterious and how erotic that can be for a man? Yeah, a man is gonna lead the prayer and we're not gonna. Leave me alone. This is not oppression. It just makes a lot of sense. Or you see a bunch of women covered up. I mean, this picture of me that I have here, I mean, I've been busty and curvy since I was a child. I mean, I caused car accidents. People went past red lights, stop signs, damn near ran me off the road. I've been kidnapped. I've been sexually assaulted, raped. Like, it just made more sense. Like, if I'm going to be this close to men, if I'm going to be in the same room in this close proximity with a bunch of super masculine men, I'd better cover up all these things that are feminine, and feminine to the point of eroticism. So, these are practical women and men.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can definitely, see how that would, cause a lot of problems. And like, yeah, sorry, like a lot of those things happen to you. I mean, but you managed to, survive, survive through them. Because I mean, one of my elders, she had actually had been had been kidnapped and put into the sex trade at like 12. Luckily, she didn't stay in there for too long, but she was in there long enough to know, you know how it is. And I think when she told the story, I've only heard the story once because she really doesn't like telling that story.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I understand. I went through maybe 7 or 8 years of therapy, and I've recently relocated, but definitely when I get all settled here, I definitely hope to get back into therapy. It's something I recommend because these are things that I can talk about, like, kind of without flinching. It's not that I like to talk about it, I actually don't, but like, I can have these conversations without, slipping into, a fit of PTSD crying, like I would have maybe 8 or 9 or 10 years ago. Um, these are really horrible things to have happen to you because they leave a mark on your soul. Even if you can't find the assault on your body, or you didn't get sick from it, you didn't get a disease, you didn't get a bruise, you didn't get a whatever, like, it leaves a mark on the heart, the mind, and the soul. And it's not necessarily something that you can erase, but it's the difference between having a scar that has smoothed over to where somebody bumps into it and it just feels like regular skin, or, some open wound. And so with therapy, I have turned, open wounds into, just some scar that's a little darker than the rest of my skin. But, if anything, the skin there is thicker than, maybe on other parts of my body because it was so deeply scarred. I don't feel sorry for myself. I like to, like, I think if it was a story that I was listening to somebody else say, I would be like, in tears, crying. Sometimes it's hard for me to watch people go through things that I've been through myself. But for me, like, I just look at myself as a phoenix that rises repeatedly from fire and ash. I'm a very spiritual person, and I've never been conquered by anything traumatizing, down to the point of burying my son. I've been hurt. I've been I've been broken but not shattered. I mean, if you look at a vase, let's say, and it breaks, but there's a way to put it back together, like you can see where the pieces came apart. But whereas if something is shattered, it's just like, well, damn, like you're not putting that back together. I like to say that I've been broken, but I've never been shattered by anything in life. Um, and I'm proud of that. I feel like I owe that to being an African American and, the system of chattel slavery that obviously made our women, evolve in a way that is very spiritually adept in in trauma and torment and torture. Um, so I'm happy for the way that I've bounced back, and I hope to help other women bounce back from things that they may not believe that they're strong enough to bounce back from.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's definitely like different types of dates being like different genders. I mean, of course, like you mentioned, you have to worry about men doing stuff to you or whatever like that. And like with men, I mean, we pretty much have to worry about like pretty much we worry about like if another dude gonna do something to you, worry about if potentially a cop or something like that, you might get robbed and I mean just like stuff like that. Like it's I mean it's definitely like I said the dangers are are different, but of course everyone has everyone has their own dangers. It's just like the dangers that I'm saying that the differences they're different. Like it's just I mean just like people going through life. Everybody has their own different issues and stuff like that. And I would say like I think I had mentioned on your channel like during my time as a child, like I think like probably like from like 12 up to 18, like I was pretty terrified of certain stuff, and it wasn't like people that think like that. It was just like of like the spiritual realm. Like I would just have stuff happen and see stuff like that like just freaked me out, and it just like it really I mean it really really messed with me because it's like it'd be like I would go to it'd be hard to to go to sleep with, with the lights off. Like I would sleep with the lights on because I was just so so terrified. I'd be afraid to go to sleep sometimes. I mean, I eventually go to sleep, but it was just like I was afraid to go to sleep because I was worried like something was going to happen to me until like I turned 18, and I just like I decided like I felt like I had to make a choice. I'm like I said, do you want to? I'm asking myself like, do you want to spend the rest of your life being afraid of this stuff, or do you want to understand it and understand what it is so that you know how to deal with it and therefore not being afraid of it. And I chose the latter, and haven't been afraid of anything since. Like and I mean that I mean that finding wanting to get knowledge of certain things, learning what certain things are kind of gave me my power back. I felt
That's leveling up. When you
yeah.
said you spent all those years scared and you just decided, like, yo, I'm going to face this and I'm going to do the work. That's literally what we mean when we say a level up. And you have just
Yeah.
like graduated from one level to another. I can definitely relate to, I definitely had a fear of sleeping because of the same thing, because I would see things, hear things, go through things that I would talk to other people about, and I learned not to talk to other people about because I'm like, okay, nobody can relate, and I'm the weirdo. But the thing about knowledge is that knowledge demystifies everything. Once you learn how stuff works or what things are, that mystery is gone and it doesn't scare you so much anymore. It's like, well, what is a jinn? Well, what is an alien? What are the types of aliens? What do we know about them? What do we don't? Are mermaids real? What about a harp? What about MK Ultra? What about the Illuminati? What is this occult? Blah blah blah. What is a Baphomet? What is a blah blah blah? What is a Shadow Man? What is Slender Man? What is the Ether Man? What is Bloody Mary? What is And
Right.
then you figure it out and you go through those motions, you go through those things. Sometimes you have to dive in head first. I got harassed so much by things from different realms and spiritually to the point where I was like, all right, then come get me. Like it turned me into a kamikaze type of character when it came to spirituality because I would wake up screaming, I would wake up scared, I would wake up with my heart racing, like just I was afraid to sleep. And then finally it drove me to the point of breaking where I was just like, you know what? Come get me. Come fucking get me. Either I'm gonna go to sleep or you're gonna push oh, excuse me, having a hiccup. And I'm just like, either you're gonna kill me or you're not. And if you're not gonna kill me, then fuck off. Like either this is going to end my life, whatever is going on with the sleep paralysis, whatever is going on with these knockings and things that I'm hearing, like either you are going to fucking kill me or you're gonna fuck off. Excuse my language. But there would be very severe things. And I used to try to avoid certain things with spirituality, especially in Islam, depending on what kind of Islam you follow, there are definitely rules against, talking to spirits and things like that. But I got to the point where I was just like, all right, you guys, let me light some candles and pour out some libation. Who the fuck are you and why are you bothering me? Talk to me. I want you to. And so I went from being haunted to becoming a hunter. And I'm just like, where are y'all? I done turned out all the lights. Show up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and like, I've had some experiences like where, it was like some great things that, some things like, like people just wouldn't believe if I actually told them because like, I've seen things like you'd only see it in a comic book, but if I'm only able to do it like once, I didn't know I even did it.
Yep. Yep. I believe you. You don't even have to. If I saw what you were talking about, I wouldn't believe you any more than I do right now. I have 100% faith in what you just said because I
Yeah.
can relate.
Yeah, cause like when I learned like not to say stuff about like when I told somebody about something I did and they said prove it and I tried to, recreate it. I couldn't. So, it was like, it's like, well, you must be lying then. So we don't believe you. So I was like, well, I said, okay, well, I guess I can't tell it. I guess that taught me a lesson that day. Like, well, I can't tell anybody anything, especially stuff like that. So I was like, okay, well, I can't tell
Sometimes
people.
it's best, honestly, sometimes it's best to know your audience. Like
Right.
here, you've created your own audience so you can have those conversations because this is your community. But let's say you're going to visit an uncle or an aunt or an old friend, and it's just like you can't have those conversations with them. These are the kind of conversations where people have been institutionalized, thrown in the back of padded wagons, and put in padded rooms and thrown into crazy homes and things like that. I've told a couple of different people and maybe 99% of those people believe me. I'm just like, I caught myself levitating just before my grandmother died. Like I was being pulled up into the air. Like as if and the Grim Reaper doesn't make I don't believe it makes any mistakes, but I'm just like it's almost like they wanted me to, or like they wanted me to know or whatever. I don't know what it was. And it's like, oh really? We'll levitate now. And it's like, well damn it, if I knew how to do it, I would levitate my ass to work. I would levitate my ass across the freeway. What do you mean? I don't know how it happened. I don't know how.
Right. Yeah. I remember talking with my friends about it, and they were saying like with like bees, they were saying like how the bee body is shaped. It said it's not aerodynamically correct. So what he was saying that like the bee was probably like levitating, when it's flying.
Exactly, because they're not aerodynamically um aeronomically correct for flying. Those things have some big booties. Like they're just for all intents and purposes. How
Yeah.
are you flying? You are not built like a bird.
Yeah, and like I think I kind of figured out like how levitation works. I think levitation works by like somehow like using the electrical impulses in your body to charge the ion, like create create making your body like one big electromagnet and kind of magnetizing yourself to the earth. I was like, and having and like like a good example showing you that is a character from X-Men, Magneto. It's like he's able to fly, but he controls metal. So it's like, how is he levitating? And I was like, oh, that's why.
Absolutely. I mean, that makes sense. I know for me, it was more like a spirit that was dragging me into the air. It wasn't necessarily of my own power, of my own volition.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like I was being snatched up. Like, you see in a scary movie where somebody, something invisible snatches the blankets off of the bed, for example. Um, it was kind of like that. Like I was being dragged, but dragged up into the air, like it almost looked like a Pilates where your arms and your feet kind of come up into that shape of a V. And I was just kind of like, you gotta let me go, let me down. And I just kind of fought my way out of it. But these are all the things that make us unicorns, that make us very unique because, spirits know who they want and who they seek and why they do it. And sometimes I really would like to have a conversation with different entities and be like, well, why? Why this person? Why that person? Why, what's the thing? And I think I know as far as like why spirits and angels even, frequent children, because children don't know to be scared. They don't know to freak out.
right.
So when they have their imaginary friends who are actually real but from another realm, or they're being visited by some kind of an angel, like they're just like, oh, you thirsty? Okay, I'll go get both of us juice boxes. Okay, want to share my sandwich? And they don't even know that they're giving all offerings to a spirit. They're just trying
Yeah,
to be friendly. And so I've kind of adopted that childlike thing where I'm like, yo, I'm just trying to be friendly. Let's be homies. This doesn't have to be about worship. Let's just, I'm gonna make you some coffee. I'm gonna make me some coffee. I'm gonna pour me a glass of water and I'm gonna give you one. Talk to me.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like far as like kids, like I think I remember like hearing kids like talk about like one thing and like I guess they were I guess they were getting told like so I wish this was real. I was like, yeah, it is. It is real to a certain point. Yeah, because I think
Absolutely.
they were talking about like the superpowers like you see it X Men. I'm like, yeah, that's. I mean, those powers do exist, but as far as unlocking them, that's a whole different thing.
Right. I mean, when people say that human beings have access to something like between 8 and 10% of their brains, I'm like, what are we doing with the rest of that mug? Like, the rest of that mug must be truly powerful for that to be dormant and to not necessarily have been dormant in like ancient societies, like when you're talking Sumerians and Egyptians. It's like, well, how did they get those pyramids there? I wonder what was the mathematics for that. Well, maybe they had access to parts of their brains that we don't necessarily use. I mean, because they didn't have food to calcify the pineal gland the way that we do. And we jack that up, and sometimes that third eye can make you see into a whole new world, like Aladdin and Jasmine.
Yeah,
So, is what it is. I try to talk about these things on my channel, but not very much because
yeah,
of the algorithm that I'm trying to be in. I'm trying to stick myself to the level up slash femininity algorithm. And I would guess that my channel is a little bit of a specialty channel because femininity is universal, leveling up is universal, but obviously being an African American is specific. So I do talk about what faces African American women, especially with this whole entire manosphere thing and the hatred of African American women that is, catching on like wildfire among African American male online communities. I was led to believe that, African American men offline don't think like this, feel like this, or find these men relatable and don't even see these men as men. But I was just like, well, I don't hear enough of y'all. I hear from these guys all the time. If they're a
yeah.
minority, they are a relatively loud minority.
Well, yeah. I mean, what a real niggas doing real nigga stuff. we, we
Exactly.
we ain't paying attention. Like, oh, okay, oh, those guys are.
And I've been trying to drag them onto my channel. Like I know I had the brother Joey T on my channel the other day that you got to talk to. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
I get that you're some land owning farmers cybersecurity, whatever. Congratulations, but can you please come talk? Like, can you please add another perspective? Because these men have us at our wits' end. We don't know what to do. Like we're about to turn our backs. Help us out. Help us, help us stay together.
Yeah, I mean, cause yeah, it's like most dudes. I ain't really, I never heard any of that, like type of stuff. I mean, if they would say anything about a female, it just be like that particular female that done them wrong. Not like as a whole. So it's like when I came in there to hear them saying stuff that they were saying. I was like really? It was kind of new to me. Like a lot of stuff that that I was seeing in certain communities. That was like kind of new. Like colorism new to me. I never really experienced that or seen it happen. And the thing about it is like it usually came from from what I hear like usually on online like usually hearing it from like dark skinned people. But my mother's dark skinned. I never seen her do anything that would like seem colors. She was she pretty much like anybody unless you just on some BS and she ain't gonna mess with you, but she usually treat everybody pretty fair. So that's kind of like think about that. Like I mean now I would I now think about it. I think my father had experienced it because he was albino. Like he I mean he almost could pass pass a white, but I mean except that he had like the fro and I remember like hearing stories about him from like one of his friends. They were saying they used to call him like white boy, and I was like, and I mean I knew that was like like an insult. I remember, and my daddy died like when I was like 12, but like I remember I think I was like
Mhm.
I think I was maybe like 23, 24, and like, I think somebody. I was talking to my one of my dad's friends, and like somebody who would knew my dad. He was like, "Yeah, this is such son." Oh man, you mean white boy? I mean, when he said that, I got up.
Wow.
I was about to knock him out. They held me back. I was about to beat him
Wow.
down because I just don't I don't like people like this is my father. I mean he wasn't. I mean he wasn't the best person in the world. Like he probably and I mean, of course, I don't. I mean, my mom said like, I mean, she told me like probably like maybe like a month or two ago, like say that was like things that he did to her that made her would have made her wanted to really get at him, but she never said in those things when I was younger. She just kind of just let it be. She never really said anything bad about my daddy really. So it was just she would let me see him whatever and let me find out on my own instead of like her just trying to put it in my ear like oh he not right for anything like that which I didn't know like a lot of mothers would actually doing that with their kids like
Yeah, that's what my mom did. I was just about to praise your mom for allowing you to come to your own conclusion because even if you're a mother of a child and you know the father isn't necessarily XYZ, the problem with telling your kids that is that your kids are going to associate themselves with who their father is. So if you tell the kid your daddy ain't shit, they hear you ain't shit. So as mothers, we really kind of have to protect the way that we talk to children about kids. I know when I was a kid, I was just like, Mom, I wish you would have told me, so I didn't care about but now I'm just like, she was doing the right thing. She was doing the right thing.
yeah, I mean like I think my mama said something around the lines like she didn't want me to look at my father in a bad way. So that's why she said she didn't say anything like I said like she kind of just told like I didn't like I'm thinking like yeah he might not have done like some of might not have done some good things but I mean he was there for me. He wasn't there for me all the time or anything like that. I think like probably when I started getting older he was there a little less but he was still he was still there. he would give me money every now and then, and he would come check on whatever. Even when he died, I think I kind of I think he think that like he had some set up where like money was coming to me until till I graduated high school.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, but it was it was kind of fun. Like like I mean, it's like I knew he would. I mean, I didn't know he was doing so legal, but it just kind of like it was like always. I mean, it's like once I found out what it was, I was like I always made it answered the question I always asked. I said, I know people work jobs. I said, I don't even know what my dad does, like as far as work. I was like, they how to get get his money, but he's like, you always have money, but I ain't never seen work. It's like I ain't never heard him, to go to a job and thing like that. So I'd always ask the question in the back of my head, but I just like didn't just let it go. Like, yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Now, I would not. Now, I would say now, I got really thinking about it. I think my grandma on my daddy's side of the family, she kind of had that little she had like colors going on. Now think about it, she did it like towards like my with my daddy and my uncle. My uncle was darker skinned, and she always treated him bad, but I always treated my daddy very favorably and all that. She always did everything for him, and I was like, like I seen it. I mean, it was like it's like you look at Uncle face, you could tell that that like
Some kind of
he
an
does.
admixture.
Yeah, yeah. He kind of resents her, but but he still he's still there. Like he just like he kind of has to be there or something.
That's familial loyalty, their family, right? I can respect that.
Yeah, yeah. So
I know on
I
the
will.
greater scale, when it comes to black men and women, I don't know what this loyalty thing is turning into. I feel like black men and women are on at odds, at least on YouTube, and it's really sad and it's hard to reconcile. But at least your family has that sense of loyalty to where it's like, okay, this person is wilding out, but they're still family. With us, we're not family, so it's just like, all right, this person is wilding out. I'm gonna block them and never see him again.
Yeah, yeah. I think it will like with certain things on YouTube, like it just like a lot of like I said, yeah, like a lot. You got like a loud minority saying certain things. And I remember like when I was in like one of those sections before it really just got out of got completely out of control. Like I was like looking at certain content creators on there. I said, yeah, I said, I don't, I said, yeah, I said that's a very dangerous way of thinking, like like just saying certain things. Because I'm like, you have like
Reckless.
young. You have younger, younger guys coming in there, and
Yep.
if you're telling them all this stuff, and it's like you're not even giving them a chance to even come to their own conclusions about it, and they might not have ever originally had a problem with black women, but because this certain YouTube was telling them all this stuff, now they kind of screwed themselves over that. But but yeah, you know what? Like I'll let you. You got any last words? Oh, up to you, sir.
Oh my goodness, I was just talking and talking while I was on mute.
Uh,
I wanted to thank you for allowing me and for having me here, inviting me to your space, and allowing me to discuss about what my channel is about. Because a lot of people, they'll look at my channel and they'll think one thing when in reality it's another. Like maybe I'm working out and it's like, oh, attention whoring, or I am, So thank you for letting me get to the bottom of, what the level up sector and femininity means to me. I really appreciate that.
yeah, I think I'm not gonna have future panels coming up, but if you would like to come through, I'll definitely keep you posted. if you would like to join them.
Awesome. Well, that sounds good.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I just looked at the private chat like, okay, yeah, yeah.
Sorry. Thanks. I
I,
appreciate that.
oh yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about a good decent amount of time, even though we kind of went into something different. It's all good. That's I mean, it's a conversation.
Absolutely. I mean, a healthy one too. It's we're 10 minutes under an hour.
Yeah.
Well, alrighty then. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much to the audience for being here, for listening, and for supporting. I'm Uppity Unicorn, and I am out of here.
All right. Thank you for coming through. All right. So before I go, I'll give a shout outs and then I'll end it. Shout out to Love Blake. Shout out to Back to the Basics. Shout out to Shay. Shout out to Miss Full Roller. Shout out to Ciova and shout out to Mahogany. So thank y'all for coming through. I really appreciate the support. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Wholeness Bound Vibration people. And I see you guys later. Have a great day.